uh, although he's just introduced me as a senior devotee, I think uh, age is only one requirement for seniority, and also um, just because I've been practicing Krishna consciousness for a long time doesn't necessarily make my advancement that great. So uh, I, I acknowledge that, but I also feel that most of the devotees here are actually more senior than me in the sense that you're very studious and sincere. So I seek your blessings also. Um, and I'm also thankful to Ambarish for the topic because this, like he said, this is an ongoing thing. And I've been meditating on this since he first approached me maybe 4 or 5 days ago with this topic of overcoming obstacles in our Krishna consciousness, overcoming challenges in remembering Krishna. And I think it's fair to say that we all have challenges in this. I think it's reasonable to assume that everybody at times is not remembering Krishna. If anybody here is actually remembering Krishna at all times, then please put your hand up and I'll pass the microphone to you because I want to hear from you. So everybody is actually in this situation. This is a pure devotee who is Krishna conscious, always Krishna conscious, someone who is conscious of Krishna and sees everything in relationship to Krishna. And so there are various challenges, but I would like to rephrase the topic. And rather than saying overcoming challenges and remembering Krishna, I would like to call it recognizing opportunities to remember Krishna. Because challenges have a connotation that we have to work to overcome them. Whereas if we see them as being opportunities to increase our Krishna consciousness, then that takes on a different approach. So, of course, the topic, how to overcome challenges, first of all, the first two words, how to overcome. When we think about how to do something, we require knowledge and we require action. So those are the two things that we need when overcoming challenges. We need knowledge on what it is we're trying to achieve. And then remembering Krishna, we need to know why do we want to remember Krishna? We've been devotees for a little while, and we were accustomed to the process and to the process of sadhana and japa and associating with devotees, all these things. But sometimes we forget why we are doing this and how important it is. There are many, of course, we know it is very, Bhagavad Gita tells us that it's very rare to have a human form. This is something that it requires some meditation, how rare it is that we have this body and how short the lifespan is and how urgent it is that we actually take full advantage of this opportunity. So having a human body and trying to become Krishna conscious is already a challenge. I listed some of the challenges that I thought of, but I'd like to actually ask everybody else here just for a moment for some of the challenges that you personally might find or challenges that you can think of, and I'll see if I haven't got them listed here. So if anybody would like to share some of the challenges they have, or else I could list some of the challenges that I've written down here, challenges, obstacles, difficulties, and then if there's anything else that I've missed, perhaps you can share those. So I have I have apathy, uh, a lack of a lack of determination in Krishna consciousness. Uh, Sometimes, ill health can be a challenge. That's, I've had periods in my life where I haven't been. I've had very bad back problems, and sitting chanting was impossible. And lying down chanting just didn't feel right. So yeah, sometimes physical health can be a challenge to our Krishna consciousness. I've got just the general influence of the modes of nature, the modes of Rajas, Tamas, and Sattva actually can overwhelm us and drag us away from becoming Krishna conscious. General distractions, there's so many distractions in the world that we encounter every day. Lack of association, lack of taste for Krishna consciousness, um, a lack of knowledge of how to actually be Krishna conscious. And then, of course, material desires, material attachments. And I've put another one here down here, which I would address later. It says lack of resources, which, of course, is an odd one because these days there's plenty of encouragement and plenty of resources. There's no lack of you can be living in the middle of nowhere, and the internet is everywhere. There's so many classes, there's so many resources online. There's so many books available. There's no shortage of resources, but I put that in there, and I'll use that as an example later on in the class as to how that can be seen as an obstacle. So, is there anything else that I haven't covered in the way of challenges or obstacles? Anything you can think of? I've covered most things there.
Thank you, Prabhuji. You covered exhaustively most of the points,
Okay.
Because your three modes of material nature also covers, although we know, but still we don't implement. So that covers that point also.
Yeah.
Yes.
So thank you. Yeah, I mean, these are all challenges that came up quite quickly for me because they're all challenges that I have. So it was easy to think of them. But they can be summarized into really two main things. One is the mind and the mindset. So the mind and the mind's coupled with the mind is the mindset, how we perceive things, how we view things. That actually, most of these things, the apathy, the health, the distractions, the lack of material desires, all these things actually come from the mind. So the mind is actually a big factor in overcoming obstacles or challenges. If you have the right mental, if you can control the mind and say no, then a lot of these things can be overcome. But ultimately, everything from what I have understood, it comes from desire. So how much do we want to be Krishna conscious? That will determine how much we're willing to overcome these challenges. How much faith do we have in the words of Krishna? How much faith do we have in the words of Guru? How much do we actually understand that I will be getting another body at the time of my death? And depending on my consciousness is the type of body that I will get. How much faith and belief do we have in this? And how much determination do we have to be Krishna conscious? Because ultimately, everything comes from desire. If we have a very strong desire to remember Krishna, then Krishna says, from me, everything comes. From me comes knowledge. From me comes forgetfulness. From me comes remembrance. So if we want to remember Krishna, he will help. If he sees you have a strong desire, then if you have a strong desire to remember Krishna, then when the distractions come, when the apathy comes, when the other things come, you will easily be able to overcome them because you'll have a stronger desire to remember Krishna. So getting back to where I first started, that the actual why do we want to remember Krishna? So there's many Shastric references here. Of course, we have in the 8th chapter, Antakale chamameva smaram muktva kaleshvaram ya prayati samadbhavam yati nashtya yava samshaya. Whenever at the time of death, whoever at the time of death quits his body, remembering me alone, at once attains my nature. Of this there is no doubt. So, of course, this is a good incentive. This is a good motivation for us to remember Krishna, because this is one thing we know for sure, is that we will leave our body at some stage, and we don't know when. So if we are intelligent, we will understand, because we don't know when, then it may be today. So that we should remember Krishna today. We should remember Krishna at all times, because we don't know when we will leave our body. Just give me 1 second here while I was feeling a little bit nervous, because I know there is such an emphasis within your Sangha on study and scripture, and I've forgotten all of my slokas and things from when I was brahmachari, so I've got many references here to look up, so bear with me. And of course, in the 18th chapter, the famous verse, Manma Bhavamakto, then we have always think of me and become my devotee, worship me and offer your homage to me. Thus you'll come to me without fail. I promise you this because you're my very dear friend. So Krishna here again is saying, think of me and become my devotee. So this is thus you'll come to me without fail. So he's reinforcing what he has said earlier, that if you think of me and if you remember me, then you will come to me, and you'll experience a life of eternality, of bliss, of full knowledge. So this is a good motivation, as opposed to not thinking of him, where we're in a world which is miserable and temporary and ignorant. So think of me, eternal, and live a life of eternality, bliss, and knowledge. Don't think of me and live in a place of ignorance, suffering, and temporary. So it's quite a good bargain. So this is why we want to remember Krishna. Actually, I heard one quote today. It said, trying to become Krishna conscious, or joining ISKCON, or joining this Krishna consciousness movement, it's like joining the mafia. It's like joining the mafia. You've heard that quote, yeah. So because you have too much knowledge, you can't leave. And so, either you surrender to Krishna and you become a happy devotee, or you don't surrender to Krishna and you become a miserable devotee. Either way, you're going to be a devotee because you can't go back and enjoy the things you used to be, that you used to do. It's too late for that. Once you're in, you're in. So either you surrender and you become happy, or you hold on to your anarthas, hold on to your desires, and you're still a devotee, but you're not happy. So yeah, so again, Krishna says, as they surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. So as you desire strongly to remember Krishna, he rewards you. And what does he reward you with? He rewards you with remembrance of him. Just bear with me here. So in one sense, there are no obstacles. I think there's a famous quote from Prabhupada where he said, someone brought up about the challenges and obstacles in Krishna consciousness. And he said, I'll kick them all out. I'll kick them out with Krishna consciousness. So this is all the challenges in life basically are kicked out by being Krishna conscious. So it's kind of like I can't remember the word, where it's not an oxymoron, but it's like the solution is to be Krishna conscious, but there are so many things that are seemingly stopping us from that in today's lifestyle. We all have so many responsibilities and challenges, and during that time, of course, we're not always remembering Krishna. A simple challenge that I've done myself many times, and I would encourage others to do also, because I find it quite revealing, is that whatever you're doing during the day, just chant Hare Krishna in your mind and see how long you can do that for. And you'll notice after some time, you'll realize, oh, I'm not chanting anymore. Sometimes it's 30 seconds later. Sometimes it's 2 minutes later. But this is a good test of actually remembering Krishna, because this is the instruction of Krishna to Arjuna. Whatever you're doing, do your duty and remember me. So chanting Hare Krishna is one of the best ways of connecting with Krishna. And how do we actually always chant Hare Krishna? Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says very clearly, Tranada Pisa Nichena, Taro Pisa Hishnuna, Amanina Manadina, Kirtanaya Sada Hari. You do this and you will always be able to chant Hare Krishna. So this verse is something also to meditate on, remaining humble, giving respect to others, and not expecting respect for yourself. These things will enable you to be able to chant Hare Krishna all the time. And if you're chanting Hare Krishna all the time, then all the obstacles are overcome. There is no apathy. There is no influence of the modes of nature. If we want to transcend the modes of nature, again, Bhagavad Gita is very clear on how to do that. Let me find that. In the 14th chapter, the three modes of material nature, he very clearly explains how to transcend the modes of nature, because I know myself, when I'm under the influence of the mode of passion or the mode of ignorance, it's very difficult to think of Krishna. Very difficult, actually, practically impossible when those modes have their influence on the consciousness. So it's important to understand the modes. Actually, out of the 700 verses of Bhagavad Gita, there's almost 100 verses that are devoted to the modes of nature. So it's a very, very important subject. And there's a lot that is governing everything in this whole material universe. So having a good understanding of how the modes affect us is important. So in the 22nd verse, 22 to 25, the Blessed Lord said, he who does not hate illumination, attachment, and delusion when they are present, nor longs for them when they disappear, who is seated like one unconcerned, Being situated beyond these material reactions of the modes of nature, who remains firm, knowing that the modes alone are active, who regards alike pleasure and pain, and who looks on a clod, a stone, and a piece of gold with an equal eye, who is wise and holds praise and blame to be the same, who is unchanged in honor and dishonor, who treats friends and foe alike, who has abandoned all fruit of undertaking, such a man is said to have transcended the modes of nature. And then a couple of verses later in text 26, one who engages in full devotional service, who does not fall down in any circumstance, at one transcends the modes of nature, and thus comes to the level of Brahman. So the emphasis here is in engaging in devotional service. Not just engaging in devotional service, but engaging in full devotional service, i.e. using your mind, body, and words to serve the Lord and the Lord's devotees. He at once transcends the modes of nature. So this is the secret of Bhagavad Gita, and this is the secret to overcoming obstacles, overcoming challenges, is to engage mind, body, and words in service to Krishna, doing your duties, engaging your mind in service. So I have one story that I'd like to share in regard to this thing I mentioned about having no resources, because some of you may know I've been involved in Food for Life for some years in Whangarei and in Auckland. And sometimes I've been asked by other people in other areas, "Oh, how do I start a Food for Life? Your program has been very successful." So I say, what do I need to do? Do I need to get need to get a kitchen, and I need to get certified kitchen, and then I need to get some. What do I need to do? How do I start my Food for Life? And they're thinking that there is an obstacle to doing their service because they don't have the resources. They need manpower, they need money, they need this, that. And quite often I hear this, devotees have some idea to do some service, but I need money. Did Prabhupada think like that? No. What did he? We all know he came to America with $7. He didn't think, I need money to preach in America. He's going to a foreign country, and he never thought, what do I need? I have everything I need. You have everything you need to preach. The Goswamis were the same. They didn't think, oh, I need this, I need that, I need this before I can do something. They just tell people about Krishna. This is Mahaprabhu's message. Just tell people about Krishna. So these people that would contact me saying, "Oh, I need to get do I need to get a grant? Where do I get a grant to start my Food for Life?" And I would say, "Do you have a pot?" And they say, "Yes." I say, "Do you have some rice?" And they say, "Yes." I say, "Well, cook some rice and give it to someone." This is Food for Life. So you start with whatever resources you have that Krishna has given you, whatever resources you have already. You already have an abundance of resources. You have knowledge. You have a body. You have a desire. The desire is the biggest thing that you have. So if you want to do something, you look at what resources you have and you start with that. So when I started Food for Life in Whangarei, we opened a cafe. We didn't have tables. We didn't have chairs. We didn't have a fridge. We had one pot. We had no money. My ex-wife and I were on a benefit. We didn't have any money. So we didn't have plates. How can you open a cafe like that? But we had faith in Krishna, and we had faith that we were trying to do something to please Prabhupada. That's it. You just try and do whatever you can to please Prabhupada. And we didn't, yeah. And so, in fact, one of our customers, one of our clients, one day he came, he was an elderly man, and he found a pallet, and he found some old plastic chairs on the side of the road, and he dragged them all the way to Food for Life. And we put the pallet on the chairs, and that was our table. Up until then, people sat on the floor, and we had paper plates. So, and we had one pot. We had a little gas burner, and we cooked the rice, and we cleaned the pot, and we cooked the sabji, and we cleaned the pot, and then we cooked the halva, and we boiled the water in a jug, and we added it to the semolina. So that's how we started. And with whatever resources Krishna had given us, we started like that. And then, of course, over the years, people saw what we were doing, and they helped. They gave some money, and someone came. And but also the good thing about being in that position was that we were fully dependent upon the Lord. Fully dependent. We had no fridge, so I would go and begging. I would go to places, please, we have no fridge. We got given, please, we'd like to paint. We don't have any paint. People donate to paint. And it was a wonderful consciousness to be fully dependent upon the Lord like that. And then, of course, Krishna reciprocates, and then we started getting more and more, and then to the point where now we're financially stable, which is nice. Now we can go and buy the things we need, but I miss that consciousness of being fully dependent. I like to feel like I have nothing, and Krishna will provide, whatever I need, whatever comes. And we had a policy of whatever comes is a gift from Krishna. And it's the same. Everything you have in your home, everything you have in your life is a gift that Krishna has given you. So it must be utilized 100% in that way. And then Krishna sees that, no wastage, 100% utilization, 0% wastage. Then he feels, oh, my devotee is so devoted, I will give more, like that. So that's been my experience, and I just wanted to share as an obstacle, and the idea of challenges and obstacles. If you have a desire to want to do something, never think that you don't have everything you need already. You have everything there. Just like Prabhupada, he think of Mumbai and the obstacles and the challenges that any normal person would have just given up. This is too hard. I'm reading this book, I'll Build Your Temple by Giriraj Swami, the story of the Juhu temple. It is so inspiring, and it's just how Prabhupada, he didn't see anything as an obstacle. He saw everything as an opportunity to surrender and to serve. So when we have these challenges, whatever they are in our life, that we think this is causing me a problem for engaging in Krishna's service, or a problem for remembering Krishna, turn it around and see it as an opportunity to actually increase our surrender, or an opportunity to go deeper, or to, for example, you can look at, and this is what I mean by your mindset is the biggest problem, is actually, that is the only obstacle is actually ourselves. That is when we think, what is the challenge? What is the obstacle? It is us. That is the problem. So you can, for example, there's probably many examples, but you could say, okay, my wife, or my partner, my husband, is a very supportive and nice devotee and such a blessing. So this can be an obstacle, or it can be an opportunity. You can have you can become very attached, which then it is an obstacle to you becoming Krishna conscious, or like overly attached. It's good to be attached, but not overly attached. Or you can see it as if you're not compatible with your partner, you think, oh, it's my relationship is so incompatible. I'm so miserable and unhappy. I wish I was someone different, or she was different, he was different, like this. This is also not the right mentality. The mentality is, Krishna has given me this situation. I'm in this situation, just like Queen Kunti. So many things, the fire, the poison, so many challenges, but not once did she think, this challenge is too much for me to remember Krishna. No, bring it on more. I want more, because by these challenges, by these obstacles, I'm thinking of you. So it was an opportunity, not a challenge. So this is what I would encourage everyone, when you think of the challenges you have, see them as opportunities to actually increase your surrender, increase your sadhana, increase your. So we've been given so many ways to become Krishna conscious. We have the holy name at any time, anywhere, no rules, no hard and fast rules. We can chant out loud with others, by ourselves, inside, outside, daytime, nighttime, wherever, in our mind, anytime. So this is a great gift. We have association, sangha, online, in person, anytime. We have books, again, sangha with pure devotees. We have worship of Tulsi Maharani. We have festivals. We have so much opportunity. So all these things are given to us as gifts, so we can go deeper into these things and increase these things to actually overcome whatever obstacles we have, and see these obstacles or challenges as opportunities. There's just one other, I know the time is running out. Oh no, we have some time. So there's one other little story. I had many verses I was going to share with you actually, but transcending the modes, so many, and how to fix the mind. But I'll share this one story, which I recently read. He's a Prabhupada disciple in London, and his name was Krishna Vaish Prabhu, and he in the 70s, he was a young boy. He was 15 years old, and he came across the devotees, came across a book. He became very convinced of the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. As a young boy, he was at school, living at home with his parents, and his parents were not in favor. They did not like the Hare Krishnas, and this is in the 70s. So he saw it's relevant because he saw his parents as being an obstacle for him becoming Krishna conscious, because they were not supportive. They didn't want him going to the temple, nothing like this. And it's maybe a little bit different, but sometimes I've seen this in some Indian families also, that the parents are very protective of their children, and the idea of them renouncing, these things and going to this, no, it's not what they had in mind for their children. So this, sometimes the parents can be an obstacle, or seeming like an obstacle. So this boy, he was very confused because he was very convinced of Krishna consciousness. And so he asked the devotees, and some devotees, they said, yeah, just come to the temple. Just don't worry. Come to the temple. Krishna will look after you. We'll send you to New York, he was in London, and get you away from your parents. And then other devotees, they said, I don't think it's a good idea. I think, and then one devotee, he said, look, and so he became quite confused. He didn't know what to do, and he was disturbed. And so one devotee said, look, if you don't know what to do, just write to Prabhupada. So he thought, oh, this is a good idea. So he wrote to Prabhupada, told him the situation, and said, I'm at school, my parents are not into it, they don't want me going, but I just want to surrender and help you and join the movement and like this. So he sent the letter away. And then, maybe 3 or 4 weeks went past, and he hadn't had a reply, and he couldn't handle it anymore. So he decided to run away. So in the middle of the night, 3 o'clock in the morning, he was sneaking down the stairs, had a box of some of his material attachments, and one of the things that he was running away to go to the temple in London, and one of the things in his box of things he wanted to keep was a tape recorder. So he was sneaking down the stairs in the middle of the night, 3 o'clock in the morning, to run away to join the Hare Krishnas. And his father woke up and heard the stairs creaking and came out and saw him. And he started running after him down the stairs to stop him. So he threw the box to put between him and his father. And when the box landed, the tape player started, and it was Srila Prabhupada chanting japa. Okay, so he interpreted that. When he heard that, he said, "Oh, Prabhupada is encouraging me to go." So because of his mindset, he'd already decided to go. He interpreted that as being Prabhupada was saying, "Go, go." So he went to the temple. He ran away, and he got sent to Germany, and he was in the temple in Germany getting trained up there as brahmachari. 15 years old boy. And so 3 months later, he gets a reply from Prabhupada. And Prabhupada said, I don't think it's a good idea that you leave home. I think you should stay at home, finish your schooling, and get some skills which you can use in Krishna consciousness. And so then the boy, he felt, I've done the wrong thing. I've not followed Srila Prabhupada's instruction. So the reason I'm relaying this story is two things. One is sometimes what we think is an obstacle is actually not an obstacle. It's because of our desire, we're seeing it as an obstacle because we have a material desire to, or I mean, it's a little different. He further explained that actually, even though he felt so bad and he had disobeyed the instruction of his spiritual master, I'm sure Prabhupada, he said he also felt that it was Krishna's arrangement because he ended up getting initiated by Prabhupada, and said maybe if he'd stayed at home and something else happened, he may not. So he feels it was still a blessing. But my point is that sometimes we see something as a challenge or an obstacle because it's interfering with our material desire or interfering with some other desire. And Maya can come in very tricky ways in the guise of Krishna consciousness. We think in the guise of, I want to leave the temple so that I can be Krishna conscious, leave home so I can be Krishna conscious. That's a very powerful incentive. But higher than that is the principle of a pleasing guru. So ultimately, if we want to overcome any challenges in our spiritual life, we are dependent on the mercy of Guru. We can do all these things. We can chant more. We can read more. We can, pray and all these things. But ultimately, we are very small. The modes of nature are very strong, and these energies, we cannot actually overcome them without the grace and the mercy of Guru. So we are always dependent. Even Prabhupada would say the same thing. He was always in the mood of like, whatever I've done or whatever I've accomplished is simply by the mercy of my spiritual master. So to summarize, I would say to overcome challenges, we must, first of all, we must desire very, very strongly to want to overcome them. If we don't have that strong desire, then it's not likely to happen. Whenever Maya presents something, we will accept it. We'll say, okay, it's 8 o'clock at night. You want to chant, or there's a good movie on. If we're not strong in our desire, then we'll accept without fighting. We'll just accept what Maya presents. Okay, let's watch. I'm tired. No, I can't chant now. Let's watch the movie. So we have to have a strong desire, as what I've realized in this week of meditation on this point, since Ambarish gave me the great mercy of meditating on this point. It has been enlivening for me, so I'm very grateful for that. So that's been my conclusion, is that you cannot be weak, you cannot be half pie. You have to see the urgency and the need to be Krishna conscious, and you have to have a strong desire for overcoming obstacles, and at the same time remain humble, not think that it's even within your power to overcome the obstacles. You must endeavor, but always be dependent upon the mercy of Guru Gauranga, and understand that they can kick out these challenges in a moment. And Queen Kunti's mood is the ultimate. It's like, there are no challenges, actually. There are no challenges. There's only our inability to surrender is the challenge, and accept and go forward with full faith and determination. So I'll finish there. I'd like to open it up for any comments or questions or anything.
Hare Krishna, Buddhimanta Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. It was very nice. What I liked it was that it's a devotee's touch, where the same management concepts that we study in management, your attitude determines your altitude. So you are the person. You can do it. You can change it. You are the person. But the same thing with a devotee's touch is explained in a very nice sattvic way, philosophical way, in a proper Krishna conscious way. So that's what I felt. And the stories are always very helpful, to get across the point. Thank you for that. Thank you very much for your wonderful realizations. And I've been also making, whenever I come across the points about staying at home and being Krishna conscious, Prabhupada's instruction, so many times Prabhupada says, no, you can do it at home. People misunderstand without, knowledge or information. So I'll add this story as well to that. Thank you. It's very wonderful. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Once again, thank you very much for taking the time and being with us, giving this association. Now, anyone like to ask any questions or share your realizations, please feel free. Very good.
Hare Krishna, Buddhimanta Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you very much for your very nice class and lecture as always. It's very nice to hear from you. Regarding the topic, I liked how you phrased, the topic, and to shift our mindset from it being a challenge to it being an opportunity to remember Krishna. Obviously, as we all know, you're a very senior devotee, and you've done a lot of preaching, and your Food for Life work has been very inspirational for a lot of devotees. I was just wondering, in terms of, you mentioned quite extensively about how in Food for Life, the challenges and the opportunities that you face to remember Krishna. In terms of your extensive, preaching and developing the Whangarei congregation over there, have you also had similar opportunities where you found that you remembered Krishna more so?
Yeah, it's a nice question. Thank you. It's I find that I'm so un-Krishna conscious, so much absorbed in mundane thought, that Krishna basically forces it upon me. In my experience, I get to a point where I'm ready to give up with things, and then something happens I've exhausted all my limited intelligence on how to solve a problem, or usually it's not enough devotees, not enough. I'm thinking again in that mundane way, not enough resources to do what we want to do. And then out of the blue, so many times it's happened, someone turns up, there's no pot washer, and someone just randomly turns up. We're at the end of last year, I was ready to close down our Bank Street preaching center. We have a preaching center there and another kitchen there. And, I for the last few years, I've been mostly focusing on, I've been putting a little bit more time and energy into my family because, you know, I have young children, and it's very easy to get caught up with things, preaching programs and this and that and this and that. And, you know, these are Western kids, and they have no other association here for them. So it's very difficult for them to be, and, you know, it has to be from home. So I've been putting a bit more time and energy into that, and also just maintaining the facilities for others to come and preach. So I'm thinking, okay, we have a devoted community here. I'll maintain the facilities. We have a nice place. We have kitchen there, and I'll cover the rent. I'll make it nice, and then devotees can come in and they can have Sunday feast. They can have Bhagavad Gita class. They can do whatever they want. But unfortunately, that hasn't been my experience. My experience was that I had the facility there, but nobody was coming forward to utilize it. I put it out there. We have a facility here. Everything is here. We have an altar. We have everything. All we need is preachers to come and run a program. But nobody was coming. Nothing was happening. So at the end of the year, I felt like, what is the point in working so hard? Rent $800 a week that I'm having to maintain, working so hard to maintain this when the community isn't valuing it enough to utilize it. So I was ready to close it down at the end of the year. I'd put it out amongst the devotees so many times to try and get some feedback, some encouragement, but nobody was responding. So I thought, okay, I've done as much as I can for this. Prabhupada sees my endeavor, and there's no loss. And then out of the blue, 2 devotees turned up, and they were super enthusiastic about the project. And they weren't ISKCON devotees. They were actually older devotees, but they were Hare devotees from Siddhaswarup. And for some reason, they were living in Mangawhai, and they moved up to Whangarei, and very experienced. And yeah, and so then that gave me, again, I thought, Krishna does it again. He's like, don't give up, you know, just hold the line, That's all you have to do. Just stay steady and just have faith and don't give up. So now another year has gone by. Now we're in a similar position in that at the end of this year, our lunch and schools program is funded by the government, and that's been the main source of funding to maintain the centre, and that contract is running out at the end of this year, and it won't be renewed. The government's got a different idea. So now there is some, you know, a little bit of concern. Okay, do we want to maintain this centre and keep it going? Then we have a strong Indian community now that are really, really coming together. In some ways, I've kind of not given up on the devotees here, but they've got their own. They're mostly quite older and reclusive, and they have their own programs that they want to do. But the Indian community here, we've started our Janmashtami preparations a month ago, and we've got 3 or 4 dramas, we've got dances, we've got a big cultural program with the Indian community, all Krishna pastimes based. We've got we're going to have a fairly big Janmashtami this year and unite the Indian community. So in answer to your question, I usually find that Krishna shows me his presence at the last minute. he waits until I'm completely in anxiety and calling out before he reveals his presence. Yeah. So, but many times this has happened. So I should learn that he is there and he's supporting. I just thank you for your question. I have another little quote to share, and that's sometimes the challenges can seem overwhelming. Like we know we need to remember Krishna and that we need to be Krishna conscious, but we try and try and try, and we're not successful. And sometimes it can seem like it's too hard. It's overwhelming. I can't do it. We tell our mind, I can't do this. It's too hard. But again, it's a mindset. It's not that it's too hard or that we can't do it. It's that we choose not to do it. We make a choice not to do it. So we can actually be Krishna conscious. Prabhupada said you can be Krishna conscious in a moment. You can definitely be Krishna conscious in a lifetime, but we choose not to. We choose to hold on to our attachments. We choose to hold on to our anarthas. We make these choices. So it's not that we can't, it's that we choose not to. So it's a different way of thinking of it. How are you doing, Prabhu?
Thank you for your answer, Prabhu. Yeah, I'm doing fine, Prabhu. I'm doing fine. I mean, we all really appreciate the efforts that you take in building, and especially like as you mentioned, just the finding opportunities everywhere to grow Krishna consciousness. So yeah, I really appreciate your answer, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Krishna is everywhere. I mean, this is what Krishna consciousness is, and developing that vision to see him everywhere and everything. And Prabhupada is the perfect example. You saw Krishna in everything, the atom bomb coming. Oh, this is Krishna coming in death. We know the story. So having that vision, seeing through the scripture and seeing through the proper perspective that actually everything is energy of Krishna. If we develop that consciousness, then we'll have no trouble. We'll have no trouble seeing Krishna, remembering Krishna. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. We've got about 3 minutes or so, but I would like to take one more question. If anyone wants to say or share some points. Very, very nice, very nectarian.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
I'm so grateful because I don't, I don't give classes. I haven't for years, and I don't, I don't say much to people. I just get on with my job and my service. So it's really been really inspiring for me. And like when I got the message from you, I was like, yes, I can do this. I can meditate on this and research this, and it was nice. So I've had a nice week of meditation and research, and it's been enlivening for me. So I'm very grateful for the opportunity. Thank you so much.
Our benefit, Hare Krishna. So our benefit. Yes, devotees, if you have, please, one more question. Who would like to take the question?
Yeah, Pradyumna and Deepapur, you guys can go ahead.
Yeah, any one of you, please.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for the nice lecture. It was very practical and very helpful for me, Prabhuji. Thank you, Isgir Samrish, Prabhuji. I had one question, Prabhuji. You had mentioned one very nice point that when we are in the modes of ignorance and passion, it is practically impossible to remember Krishna. Mm-hmm. And you said that when we are in ignorance and passion, and then whatever Maya serves us, we take it. It's like an option. You have a movie and you have a year round spending. So I had the question that when we are in ignorance and passion, we cannot remember Krishna. But to remember Krishna, do we not have to be on like a mode of goodness to start remembering?
Nice question. Thank you. So mode of goodness, we should definitely be encouraged to be in the mode of goodness. And that involves, what we're eating, when we're resting, our dealings with people, our habits. We can look at all these things and say, okay, what is the habit? And Krishna explains in the 14th chapter all the different modes and what it is like. So we can study that and understand if we want to be in the mode of goodness, then be regulated. sattvic food, have our lifestyle and habits can be molded to be in the mode of goodness, and then it is much easier to remember Krishna. Of course, we don't want to become conditioned to the mode of goodness either. There's also it's also a problem, to be conditioned by the mode of goodness, where we become attached to feeling, peaceful, or feeling, healthy like that. I mean, I at one point in my life, I was so healthy. I was very, very strict with my diet, and I became very, very healthy. And then one day I had a pakora, and it made me ill. And I said, what's the point? What's the point in being so healthy? I can't have a pakora. So, so we can't get attached to these things. Yeah. So I don't know if that answers your question, but the mode of goodness is definitely something that we need to be aware of and understand, and look at our lifestyle, look at our habits, and see which modes are governing us. If we're staying up late, or if we're getting up late, this is mode of ignorance, and it's not encouraging for Krishna consciousness. So we need to. I've had to deal with this. I have a lot of admin work I need to do. I would wait until the children went to bed at 9 o'clock, and then I would start my admin work, which was okay for a while. But I was finding as time went on, I was tired, and I wasn't productive with my admin work, and I was spacing out. I was getting distracted, and then 11 o'clock, 11:30, I'm going to bed. And then after a while, and I was still getting up early. After a while, I'm not getting up early. So then you have to recognize there's a problem. There's a problem here. I'm not productive. I'm getting to bed late. I'm getting up late. I'm not getting my sadhana time. So, and it became almost like a habit. It becomes a habit when you do something regularly after a while. And so every night I would go to the computer and try and do work, but wasn't productive. So in the end, I've taken my computer out of the house, and I've taken it down to Food for Life. And now I do my work during the day when I'm more mode of passion, but at least not mode of ignorance. But I do it. And then, so now at night, I've got no computer at home. So kids go to bed, I go to bed too. So better. So you make some adjustment to your life and bring it to mode of goodness.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. What's your name, Prabhu?
Pradyumna.
Pradyumna. And your friend, brother, something here?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji, for the class. Prabhuji, my name is Deepak.
Deepak. Nice to meet you, Deepak.
So they're both, one, Pradyumna Prabhu is in our intermediate level program. He just moved. And Deepak Prabhu is in the beginners program. They both are friends from Nagpur. And they are under the guidance of mentorship of Avinash Krishna Prabhu and Saraswati Mataji. So
wow. And where do they live?
Nagpur.
Nagpur.
Nagpur in India. They are from Nagpur at the moment.
Really? Wow.
But one of them is actually from Vrindavan. Originally from Vrindavan.
Okay. Nice.
So we got very broad base set of devotees.
Yeah, it's wonderful. So inspiring.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. I would like to thank personally Buddhimanta Prabhu. And one thing I like about him is this, that in an existing Sangha programs, he would come and he would honestly share his realizations, and that will benefit everybody. So that is one quality which I appreciate very much. So when we had this topic, ongoing topic, I said, whom should I call? I said, let me call Buddhimanta Prabhu, let me check, We're very wonderful. And we took advantage of this today, It's so nice. Thank you very much once again, Prabhuji, for your time and for your efforts and for your realizations. It is for our benefit. Hare Krishna. And you're most welcome to wait, to continue with our beginners program. We'll take a 5 minutes break now.
Okay.
We'll join again for the beginners program.
Yeah, I would like to join you more often, because yeah, it's good association for me to be with you all.
Sure, Prabhuji. Wonderful. It's so wonderful to have.
Okay.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Srila
Hare
Prabhupada.
Krishna.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
So, dear devotees, we'll take about 5 minutes break and we'll join back again. Hare Krishna.
Krishna.